A Tale of Two Hygienists presents this week's Tipisode. Quick and easy tips to keep you up to date and presented by the experts in the profession. Now, get ready for your unofficial Tipisode.
So let's talk about do a little. So I've already started recording, by the way. So let's talk about do.
Good.
Let's define what it is.
I'm glad you asked because a lot of people don't know what do stands for, and this is our 5th year anniversary. We launched do, and it stands for Dental Entrepreneur Woman, 5 years ago at the Hinman with champagne, and I was riding around in Mercedes, and it was fun. Yeah, it was a blast. And so we have a champagne toast tomorrow, and you're invited at 4 o'clock in the social media lounge. We're going to have some pumped up music and lots of champagne and toasting women in dentistry. And Andrew, it's so interesting because I called it Dental Entrepreneur Woman, and then, of course, the acronym DO, because I had Dental Entrepreneur magazine, and I was publishing that. I've been publishing it for over 20 years. It flew under the radar because it went to all the dental schools, drop ship, print in the mailbox. Those mailboxes no longer exist, right?
Yeah.
And also the audience has changed because they're not necessarily going into associateships or starting their own scratch practice.
Sure.
And so now our content has changed for that, but I digress. The day I decided to start do was a knee-jerk reaction. Erin Brockovich, if you will. I was on the phone. I just happened to call a good friend of mine that was just coming out of her review, and her boss told her that her smile was insincere. And actually, it's a little bit more than that. And I caught her as she came out, and she was crying. And she's such a strong female in dentistry, and the most sincere person I know. Yeah. And I had known her for a long time. So as we talked, I said, darn it, I'm going to start something today to highlight women in dentistry. Because as you know, all the women that you know in dentistry, and men, we're smart. We can't get through dental hygiene school unless we are smart, we're driven, we're caring, because it's about caring for our patients. And we need to be highlighted and lifted up and inspired and empowered. We should be in the C-suites, and we're not. So it started as just highlighting. I just said, let's tell stories and how great we are.
Right. And
it's turned into this bigger movement of inspiration, empowerment, and connection. And so that night, my husband, Tom, and I are in the back porch. We're having a cocktail, and I'm telling him about my conversation with my friend. And I said, I'll just call it Dental Entrepreneur Woman. And that was it. I didn't give it any thought. And a lot of people are like, I don't know what it is, or I don't know if I'm a dental entrepreneur woman. I'm working in a practice. What it is, it's a movement for women that just happen to be in dentistry. That's really where my heart is.
Sure.
And it's all about bringing love and kindness to dentistry, no scarcity mentality. I love strengths and knowing your strengths and loving yourself first so that you can love others and appreciate others who have different gifts than you have.
Sure.
You know, what you do, I can't do, and what I do, you can't do.
But also let's work together because together we can get anything done.
Exactly.
But also the name, the entrepreneur thing, I think is some people would say that's a misnomer. That doesn't describe me. But I think that at some point not to get too meta, but we all kind of are at some point, whether it's going to be now or that's going to be in the future, we've done something that is either building our own personal brand or building the brand of somebody else. And I like that kind of mentality of let's work on something now because we never know what the future is going to be, right? So people should be a part of the movement and not be scared about, I don't fit into this box. Why are we defining things?
Yes.
We don't need to.
Exactly.
And we don't know who we're going to be in the future. So defining ourselves now is actually detrimental to us. Yeah. So let's leave it open.
Interesting, because I do believe that you should look for opportunities that build on your strengths. And so I've always had a side gig. Well, I shouldn't say that. Raising kids, I guess that's a side gig. So, before we had 3 kids.
Just that little thing that you took on the side.
And you really have to have your kids for a lifetime. You can't get rid of your kids.
Right.
And it's nobody tells you that when you decide to have children. But I'm lucky. I've got 3 adult, amazing kids now on their own. And, the goal was to have them work at something they love and get paid for it.
Sure.
And I think that is also a little bit of the entrepreneurial spirit. And actually all women are entrepreneurial. I mean, I really believe that. They are all spinning more than 5 plates, and they're not letting any of them drop. And then they're dancing backwards in heels. And so that, to me, is the definition of an entrepreneur.
Sure.
So when people say that, you're right, the misnomer, number one, I'm not an entrepreneur. Oh, yeah, you are, because you're spinning plates. And also, not just women, it's everyone. Everyone has a lot, even if it's a side gig and it's a hobby, you're still doing more than one thing and tapping into what you love, what you're good at.
Yeah.
And the saddest thing for me is when somebody, and I've known these women at my age, I just, finished my dental hygiene clinical career after 46 years, mostly because I didn't want to have a walker and I didn't want my patient to have a walker. We would be bumping into each other on the way into the
Racing
operatory.
Racing down the hall.
And I loved it. I loved dental hygiene. I miss it.
Yeah.
But I know women, because I've never worked with a male hygienist. I've always had...
You're missing out.
I know I'm missing out.
But we can be, what do you call us? Dudes?
You're a dude.
Dudes?
You are a dude.
D-E-W-D, everyone.
Yes, yeah. D-E, capital D, lowercase e, capital W, lowercase d.
Love
dude.
it.
Love it. And I'm honored to call you a dude.
I love it.
So it's a select group. We've only got about maybe 27 now.
Ooh.
So we are really, and there's a lot of them out there that are just vying for this. The application, send it in. The application
It was
process
an
is
arduous
alive.
selection process, but I'm so lucky I made it through.
Yes.
That panel that you selected, that I had to go and do the whole thing, 20-minute monologue was rough.
I know. But you did pass that with flying colors. I knew you were going to get in from day one.
It's the juggling act that I did that really.
Well, it really was.
On the skates, remember that?
I loved it.
Flame
and
throwing.
the twirls,
flame. I was good at that.
Sword swallowing. It was amazing. It was. You are amazing.
No one knows that about me. This is the first time on the podcast it's ever come out.
I'm so glad. I'm glad to share a little bit
After,
about you.
7 years, right?
He's just in the background. Come on, let's get the real Andrew out there. But back to the point of I know so many women that are in the career and they just get up in the morning. They don't want to go to work. They don't like what they're doing. They can't wait to get out of it. And that is so sad.
Yeah.
Because, that my goal, even with Do, was bring you into the career and keep you in the career. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the time, end of your career, you're going to look back like I did and say, it was awesome, I loved it, and what's next? Because dudes and do's never retire.
Yeah.
Right? Because you still have to get the balance, and you still have to do that. And maybe I'm not going to be working as hard as I am right now, in my 70s. But I might be, because I like it. And
because we're always chasing something.
Yeah.
We have to have that fulfillment. We were having a conversation last night. There was I think 4 or 5 of us at a dinner, and this topic came up because I feel like we talked about Women in DSO conference, which you just emceed.
Yes.
How was that?
Oh, it was
I bet you killed
fabulous.
it. Yeah.
Well, I did my best, and
I'm
it was
sure you
really
did
fun.
wonderful.
And I think the crowd had fun, but it was a very impressive event.
That's what I keep hearing from everybody.
An impressive crowd, and I was honestly honored to be chosen to MC.
And a big crowd too. Over 500 people, I heard.
Yeah, around. I think they said 575,
Jeez.
and it was high level attendees. I mean, these were CFOs, COOs, CEOs. I mean, every kind of C out there, C-suite women.
Yeah.
And so much about mentorship and bringing the young women along, and how can we pour into you to give you a good career. So it was very do-ish. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. And I want to be able to actually be the umbrella for them to promote them.
For sure.
Because, here you are, which I just love that you and Raphael are leading the way in a DSO. And I feel like it's important for all of us to come together so that we can see the goodness of a DSO.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of where that conversation last night was going towards, is DSOs, how Raphael and I, how we got to where we are is on the backs and the shoulders of other people. And guess what? It's hygiene. All of our mentors were women. I can't think of a single person who has been a mentor to me other than Raphael, who this is more of a recent mentorship, that got me to where I am. Mm-hmm. And so it was interesting that in our brains we're like, well, why did it stop though? why aren't there more women in C-suite, C-level leadership positions? Because all of these people are the smartest smartest people that we've ever come across who taught us everything we know. Why didn't they keep going? And that was kind of the conversation last night. We're not going to rehash the whole thing, but it was very disheartening and very kind of frustrating a little bit. And as I'm sure it is for the women that are experiencing it.
Yeah. It's hard to find the balance. And we talked a lot about balance. It's hard, but there's a way to do it. But, there's no answers. I think the best thing is to having the conversations and to really finding out why they're either in it to win it and they're in it for the longevity. And is there a career path? And is there a career path that I don't have to work 80 hours a week?
Yeah. Which I think COVID's teaching us that we don't have to be so rigid in everything.
Well, that's true.
We can take a look at what Europe is doing and look at I was listening to this podcast, and I think I've talked about this on our show before, but they were talking about how we came about to the 40-hour work week and how weird and arbitrary that is. But we hold so hard to that work week in the United States. Even our overtime is based on that 40-hour, except for I think California or a few other states. But why are we like that? And why can't a leader be a leader in however many hours it takes to be a leader?
Yes.
It's interesting.
Well, that's why a lot of people decide to leave corporate and go out on their own.
Yeah. Because
they are tired. And my husband's a good example of that. He was always corporate chemical. And, the meetings. And it's just, it was crazy. So, to be able to make your own decisions and that kind of thing. But there's got to be a place for both. And I agree with you that Tim Ferriss has that the
4-hour work week.
Yeah, is it 4-hour work week or 4-day work week?
It's 4-hour work week.
Oh, is it? Oh, I like
Let's
that.
look it up real quick.
Let's look it up real quick.
He has an amazing podcast.
Yeah,
though,
I love
by the
his
way.
podcast.
His ads are really long in the beginning, so
Peloton,
it is 4 hour.
Yeah, 4 hour. Oh, it's a 4-hour work week.
Yeah, literally 4 hours a week. Yeah, that's what he's advocating.
Oh man, that's pretty cool.
I'm saying.
I'm gonna go grab that one. I thought it was okay. That's awesome. I thought it was a 4-day work week. Oh yeah, I never heard that podcast. I was introduced to him later in his podcasting, and I never went back to the beginning. I love listening to what he has to say and how he does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd like to get some of his sponsors on my podcast.
Oh my gosh, but do you want to read a 5-minute ad?
No, well, that's true.
His ads are like seriously the first 12 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
But of course it's a 2-hour show or whatever, but.
Yeah.
But I mean, segueing back to this, I feel like I have the most amazing people in dentistry, just like he has the most amazing people in whatever field they are.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
I'm so lucky.
Oh, you're so lucky. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I really am.
So what can how can our audience be involved? Because I feel like whether they want to be passively involved or actively involved, how can they do these things?
Well, go to dew.life and sign up. Sign up for the newsletter. That's free, and that's all of our good content. But join. It's $98 a year to join the DEW movement, which gives you a lot of perks.
Yeah.
Especially we have like a coffee chat, 2 coffee chats going all week, during the week, one on Wednesday mornings, one on Tuesdays. We have Learning Crew, which is free to our members. You get the publication before everybody else. You get to be in a place where everybody knows your name.
Like Cheers.
Brittany,
did you sign up yet?
Yes, she did. Yay, Brittany!
Yay.
And you're such a DEW. You again, it's someone that wants to grow, and wants mentorship, and wants to mentee other women, and just even the coffee chats. We have like 20, 25 people sometimes on those on Wednesdays, and you don't even have to talk, but it's so rich. It's like it's a safe space. It's like a vault. But you learn so much from each other, and it's about time that we're connecting on those relationships, because I think as an entrepreneur, you are on your own a lot, and it's a little bit lonely. And it's funny because, like, I love my hubby. He's awesome. But when I start talking at the end of the day about da-da-da-da, and this happened, and this happened, this happened, he says he's listening, but I don't think he is. He's watching sports, reading this paper on his iPad, and I'm thinking, honey, right here, eyes here. But the women on this coffee chat, or the women call a DEW. This is the community that we're developing. that you can talk to somebody, that you can share your wins, you can share your losses, you can share really the intimate things about your life and find the collaboration that you're looking for. So that is really what's happened, is everybody is starting to be connected.
Yeah.
And
in
a deeper way, not just like, oh, hi, but we're a sisterhood. And a sisterhood that loves men. Because, again, I've got 2 grown sons. I love men. I love you. I love my husband. It's not about bashing men. It's just about let's sit at the table with you and let's do it together. So, which we haven't seen. You know, I was just talking to somebody right before this podcast, and she was at a big meeting with the ADA, the only woman sitting at the table, of this big table. Now, we've got to change that when you think of 52% of the graduating dentists are women. Tufts is, I believe, 62% this year, graduating women.
Yeah.
And, you know, you guys have it made because you guys are the only, you know, testosterone going around in the hygiene. There's not many like you guys. So it's really a woman-centric profession.
Yeah.
Not that it has to be, but we should be in the leadership roles, making decisions. And it's interesting how I forget the company just had a new handpiece that's small for a woman's hand. Well, it's about time we got some things like that, right?
No, it's very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but they can reach out to us at dew.life. Check us out. And then I like to set up a call. Anybody that joins, and Brittany, we're going to do that. Because I like to get to know you a little bit. And then, I love to recommend the Strength Finders, because then I like to dive deep on like what you're really good at and have you recognize that. Because, you know, we always do these personality assessments, but you don't actually ever study it or really dive into what it really means. And so that's something that I like to do. And then I always think, okay, so who else can I introduce you to? And then that builds some, you know, another good relationship. And it's just, you know, a great network.
I think the thing I like about it, just kind of big picture, thinking again about the audience, right? Because we have so many personality types. And we mentioned this on an earlier recording that I would say a good majority of hygienists are very introverted. And some of the people are going to be listening to these words like, great, I'm going to get that, you know, one-on-one call. Like, it's going to be amazing. But other people are going to be like, well, I don't know if I can handle that much interaction. But I don't want them to be scared off, because I think one of the things that I learned by watching, and like, you can sit back, you can watch all the amazing people do their thing. And if you watch long enough, you can find the people that are aligned with your own values. And then those are the people that you can approach later on when you feel comfortable doing that. But you know that they're a part of an organization that is already inclusive and welcoming, which you're not always going to know ahead of time in any other organization. You'll be able to find that person and ask them the questions that you want to. And that's the thing I like about this.
I thank you for saying that, because I do believe that. And I've always said good people find good people. And that's, you know, we're just attracting good people.
Yeah,
I
love it.
And it's really wonderful. Spread the joy, spread the dew.
All right, Anne, thank you for being on. I appreciate you so much. Any last messages for our audience?
No, I would just say, you know, keep loving yourself and keep doing you.
I love it. Thanks, Anne.
You're welcome.
All right.
We hope you enjoyed this week's Tipisode. Be sure to reach out to our guest experts and let them know how helpful their tips were. Follow A Tale of Two Hygienists on Facebook, Instagram, and head over to ataleoftwohygienist.com and subscribe to our newsletter. You can also email us at ataleoftwohygienist@gmail.com and keep listening for more awesome content from your unofficial dental hygiene podcast.